My name is Jenna Barbie. I'm the teacher that is under investigation with the Florida Department of Education for indoctrination for showing a Disney movie. I just wanted to come here and tell you my truth, my story about what actually happened. So I'm a first-year teacher and a first-time mom, so needless to say, I've had a lot of learning to do this year. So how the situation came to be, our students had standardized testing all morning. So some students didn't finish. So in the afternoon, part of my students who didn't finish went to a different teacher's classroom, and she split her kids amongst the other fifth grade teachers. So due to the fact that they spent their morning state standardized testing, I had a lot of students not in my room who typically are, and I had another teacher students in my room. I thought it would be a great time to give them a brain break by showing a movie that related to what we were learning about in school. Other fifth grade classes did this as well. So I want to bring up the issue that I'm in trouble for. I was told by every teacher and mentor at our school that our method for approval by administration of showing movies was to have a signed parent permission slip for PG movies. I had that from the beginning of the year. The whole fifth grade team had signed permission slips for PG movies with no objections to specific content. I actually had one student who did have objection to specific content, not showing the Buzz Lightyear movie, but she wasn't in my classroom anymore, so it wasn't a big deal. The reason I was turned in is because one of the split students was a school board member's daughter. That school board member is currently on a rampage to get rid of every form of representation out of our schools. She even spent days this past week going to all the high schools to get rid of anything that had to do with representation whatsoever. She even had admin escort her to a teacher's classroom that had a sticker of a black hand and a white hand holding hands, and the white hand had a different color fingernail for every finger. So the school board member called the Department of Education on me for indoctrination before ever coming to our school to talk with me or admin about the situation. When she did come to our school, she came as a school board member, and our principal said, no, you can come as a concerned parent, but then you need to schedule a meeting. So she did. She came, and later that day, and admin was in and out of my room, pulled me out, and we had a meeting, and I understood her perspective that, okay, she really doesn't want this shown at her house. I never saw that perspective before, so I didn't think it was a big deal, but seeing how upset she was, I told her I understand my lesson, that's that, but come to find out, she had already reported me and there was nothing she can do about it. So I chose this movie because it relates to our curriculum. Our unit at the time was earth science and ecosystems and how they interact, plants, humans, animals. So this movie is perfect. My thought process was, what a better way to showcase all these standards, along with huge lessons of overcoming differences, spreading kindness, communication, and chasing your dreams, a lot of which are in our social emotional Florida Best standards as well. Is a character in the movie LGBTQ? Absolutely. Is that why I showed it? No. I have a lot of fifth grade students who have come to me this year, long before showing this movie, talking about how they're part of that community as well. And it's not a big deal to me, so I just said, okay, that's awesome, do you. Not pushing anything, just being accepting. That's what I do. Does that have anything to do with why I showed it? Not in the slightest. The LGBTQ aspect of the movie, they're harmless. It's just a talked about crush, and it's only a couple lines in total scene time of just over 2 minutes. The parents in the movie kiss a lot, and that wasn't even brought up, and that's the issue. I also want to bring up the fact that none of my students cared or batted an eye. They didn't even know this was a big deal until the board member and the state made it a big deal. They're using it against me, saying they're protecting the children and it's for their safety. But what is this actually showing them? Their teacher showed a movie to help them connect to our curriculum and learn some valuable life lessons. But the minor representations that have nothing to do with the movie are such a big deal that now admin is in their room, pulling their teacher out, calling the students one by one down to the office to interrogate them in the middle of my lessons. And now there is an investigator from the Florida Department of Education coming to pull my students out of class again to investigate them individually. And by the way, they don't even have to have a signed parent permission slip for that. This investigator is allowed to come and pull them out, and a letter got sent home to some of the students, but I doubt a lot of my parents are even going to get it. And if they don't call and object, the interrogator is allowed to just pull them out. Do you know the trauma that is going to cause to some of my students? They are fifth graders. Some of them can barely come up and have a conversation with me and are just getting comfortable with me, and now an investigator is allowed to come and interrogate them? Are you kidding me? What is that showing them? This is the public education system, where students from all backgrounds, cultures, and religions are welcomed and should be celebrated and represented. I am not, and never would indoctrinate anyone to follow my beliefs. I will, however, always be a safe person to come to that spreads the message of kindness, positivity, and compassion for everyone. That is the key to the safety for our children. That is the key message that everyone needs to find in their heart and understand. I was taking stuff off the walls the other day, and I had a student come to me and say, "Miss Barbie, why are you doing this?" And it's because of the new law that was put out about everything being standards. And I said, "Well, this is what's happening." And they said, "Why don't we get a say?" That's a good point. Why don't you get a say? If you haven't seen the Disney movie Strange World, I highly recommend it. And for those of you who are throwing hate my way without knowing me or my true intentions, you may learn a thing or two from that movie. Follow your heart. Find the compassion. Find the kindness. It's the key to a better, positive life. Thank you.
What?